guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about that dark rain cloud that is hanging over the music community's head. Yes, I am talking about Facebook's new Terms of Service announcement. Hint, it's not actually new, they're just kind of updating it, but we'll get to that later. If you're new to my channel, my name's Joey Clarkson. I'm a singer-songwriter, voiceover artist, and audiobook narrator living in London with my husband and our two Pomskis. I make videos just like this every week, so if you're interested in this type of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on. Alright, so today we're going to be diving into two documents. First, Facebook's official statement about their terms of service. We're not going to go too deep into that, but I am going to highlight a very important paragraph, and yes, it's probably going to be the one that you've read that is confusing you, which is probably the reason why you're YouTubing this in the first place. So we're going to go over that very briefly, and then we're going to dive into the unofficial statement from Kevin Bruner, who's the Senior Vice President of Marketing with CD Baby, and also the co-host and co-author of the DIY Musicians blog and podcast. He said some really cool things over on Facebook, but it didn't make it to YouTube, and I thought I would bring that knowledge here so we could go over it because it really helps clarify some things that Facebook may have left a bit confusing. Now, before we get started, why don't you leave your artist name in the comments below and tell me roughly how many live streams you've been participating in over the course of lockdown, because I'm super interested in knowing. I'd also love to connect with other singer-songwriters and musicians out there. All right, we're gonna change scenes. I'm gonna pull up these documents on the computer and we're gonna go over some facts. Okay, so here we are. We are now looking at Facebook's official statement for music guidelines. Now, I'm not going to read through this whole thing because I know that you've probably already read this if you are sitting here on this page watching this video, but I am going to highlight this one part here, which is the part that seems to be freaking everybody out the most. So this is what worried me too, and I think that our reactions are definitely justified. You may not use videos on our products to create a music listening experience. Right away, that's a pretty confusing statement. What is a music listening experience? What constitutes as a music listening experience? Now, the paragraph that follows is something that's even more confusing and actually a bit scarier too. We want you to be able to enjoy videos posted by family and friends. However, if you use videos on our products to create a music listening experience for yourself or for others, your videos will be blocked and your page, profile, or group may be deleted. This includes live. So this is really confusing because when we see this sentence, this little tiny sentence, these 3 words, this includes live, I think everybody in the music community jumped straight to thinking that this meant live music performance. This is what I thought. I had a whole different video planned for how I was going to explain this until I saw Kevin Bruner's post on Facebook. Now, if you don't know Kevin, he's a phenomenal musician. He's been working at CD Baby for years. Him and Chris have a CD Baby podcast, which is just phenomenal. It's amazing. If you haven't heard the podcast, you got to start listening to it. Literally like spell out the music industry for independence and just give you fabulous tips. So shout out to Kevin. I really hope it's okay that I'm going to be quoting this and actually showing you guys this on the screen. We're going to go right over to Kevin's post now, and we're going to read about what Kevin has to say here. So Kevin made this statement 18 hours ago, which is a couple days after Facebook's big change. Now, this has actually been in effect from Facebook since like 2018. Anyways, I'm going to go into what Kevin said, and I'm going to read it word for word so I don't miss things out. It might be a bit long. If you want to jump ahead, do so, but honestly, his posts are always informative, so here we go. Musicians, artists, bands, please read. There's so much misinformation and misleading headlines about Facebook's listening experiences change happening October 1st, so I wanted to help clarify. Now, thank you, Kevin. I'm really glad you did help clarify because lots of people have been taking this the wrong way. These policies have been in place since 2018, but what they are trying to do is clarify what they mean by a listening experience. Basically, Facebook does not want users to try and turn the platform into Spotify or YouTube Music, where you open it up and push play and then go about your business. They want content where people are actively engaged, watching, commenting, and sharing. Now, Kevin's used a good example here. He said, you cannot post an art track video of your song, so album art with an image and music playing. You also can't post a video with a static image and the music playing like a peaceful nature image with music. It's the same concept as an art track, but worth clarifying. Our videos must have visual motion like your official music video. However, you cannot string multiple music videos together even if they have motion to create a playlist type experience. So it looks like we can post our official music videos to Facebook, but you can't put a series of music videos in Facebook. So we can't create a playlist. Basically, what Facebook is considering a music listening experience would be taking produced versions of tracks and putting them side by side to create a playlist like we would on Spotify that would then be playing in the background while people do other things around the house. So in addition to wanting to be able to avoid copyright issues, posting tracks that we don't have the license to post to a third-party website like Facebook, they also want to avoid having people just put on music and then walk around the house, because Facebook wants people to be inside of Facebook. They want to trap you. They want their viewers and their listeners to be engaging with content. And if it's just a playlist and there's nobody actually performing and there's nobody asking questions to their audience, then they're not capturing people and requiring them to stay on that platform and hook them in. Facebook wants to hook people in, and they want you to hook people in. So that's why they're doing this. Also, 4, you cannot start a Facebook live stream and just stream your music through it like at Spotify. Now that's really important too, because I have had some friends who have done like a live listening experience where they will like play an album top to bottom, kind of the way that we would if we were doing a needle drop party and it wasn't in the middle of a pandemic. So we can't just put our album on, stream the music, and leave it up on Facebook, because this infringes against copyright laws, and it also goes against Facebook's guidelines, which is creating an engaging place for their audience to be. As Kevin says, it's a social platform and they want to keep it social. I totally get that. So then Kevin goes on to say, this does not impact you going live to play music to your fans. Facebook has been launching new tools, like Facebook Stars, to make that experience even more beneficial to artists. Your fans can tip during a live stream. I did notice that, and I thought it was really weird that they would introduce a function to tip people with stars and then take away the ability to actually play live music, because it seems like that was in direct response to the amount of people who have been live streaming during the pandemic. I think that that's like further proof that they don't want to eradicate live music from their platform. They want to eradicate the canned music from their platform, which is not good news for DJs, and that's a whole other debate, but it is good news for those of you who are playing acoustic live tracks. They've also made some great improvements to the comment section during a live stream that make it more fun and interactive as a fan. I don't know if I agree with that, because I find it incredibly confusing, but I digress. We'll move on. Kevin then goes to say, with all that said, Facebook's copyright system doesn't work the same way as YouTube's system, and that's where more confusion happens. If you have a live stream and you use recorded music you don't have the rights to, your stream may get pulled off. This can impact DJs, who are often using samples and recordings that they don't have clearance to use. This can happen on YouTube as well, but their systems are very different, and many artists are assuming that what works on YouTube will work on Facebook. And that's just false. It is false. A lot of people assume that because YouTube kind of has their stuff together in regard to music copyright that all other social platforms do, and they don't. YouTube has been in the game much longer than Facebook and Instagram as a platform where people share video content. And actually, I think it's probably the place people should be going to do these live streams. YouTube's had their foot in the door for streaming live music and dealing with copyright issues for years now. They're definitely miles ahead of the game for any other social platform. And also, YouTube's whole business is built on creating videos, and a big part of videos has been live music and videos that incorporate music. They've had to tackle this problem years before Facebook has even had it on their radar that they wanted to provide a video experience, because Facebook was never built to provide video experiences. Basically, if you're live streaming on Facebook, I think you should also be live streaming on YouTube, but that's a whole other video. All right, so moving on. He then goes on to say, I hope that helps. If you're experiencing something different, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Update. I've been asked many times about the Facebook Terms of Service and how it specifically calls out listening experiences and how that means live streams. No. And I mean, like, if you go back and read through what Kevin's been saying this entire time, Facebook's listening experience is something where you're meant to only listen and not engage. That's how they're defining this. So it has nothing to do with live streaming your own personal music. He then goes on to say, it clearly states they don't want you taking copyrighted material like music or podcasts and using them to create a listening experience. That means if you want to be a playlist curator, go to Spotify. This platform is not for you. If you want to be a podcast curator, this platform is not for you. Facebook is not a platform you have running in the background to listen to stuff while you work or clean the house. I mean, Facebook just wants you to be on their platform and then to find a different article or a different post, and they want you to argue with your neighbor. They want you to just stay on their platform at all costs. And if you are creating a listening experience where people will then be distracted because they just have music on in the background, they're just listening to your album top to bottom, then that person will leave, and their ability to hook them back in and keep them on their platform will then go away. And that's what Facebook is trying to avoid. An artist live stream is an interactive social event, so you could turn on a live stream and have it playing in the background, but that's not the normal use in this case. I think that's what he was trying to say. Basically, like anybody I've seen, any of my friends who have been live streaming have been creating interactive experiences because they want people to comment on their streams. They want to have conversations in the comment section while it's happening and respond to people who are asking questions because that's how they keep people on their stream. We want people to come in and listen to our music and stay on our stream the same way that Facebook wants people to come onto their platform and then stay on their platform. It's all about audience retention, and a listening experience in Facebook's eyes when you take pre-recorded music and then put it up so people can listen while they multitask is not the kind of experience that Facebook wants. The same way that we wouldn't want to be performing live music to a bunch of people who are sitting on their phones and playing, like, I don't know, Tetris. I love Tetris. I know that's not the game everybody's playing, but like, whatever, Candy Crush. Anyways, he then goes on to say, if you want to make content people enjoy and engage with on this platform, like your live stream to your fans, this is a great spot to do it. And I agree with Kevin. I think that this is a great spot. Facebook is a great spot. I also think you should maybe be using StreamYard to multi-live stream to YouTube at the same time so you can hit two birds with one stone, but I think that's a different video. Basically, if you're an original artist who's performing songs live, in a live way on Facebook, then this should be fine. You're not going to be affected by this, and I wouldn't worry. If you want to play it really safe, then maybe play only your original tunes, but it shouldn't be a problem. Not in the way that we all think it's going to be a problem, at least. All right. That's it. I want to thank Kevin in advance for letting me make this video. I am asking for forgiveness rather than permission because I didn't ask him before if I was welcome to use his post to put out to YouTube, but it is a public post on Facebook. It has been shared lots of times. It has a bunch of comments on it, and I just thought it was great information and it needed to get out to YouTube because YouTube is where a lot of people go to clarify things, and some people won't see that post on Facebook. So hopefully this has helped you clear up some things. Hopefully it's not going to affect how you feel about live streaming over on Facebook. I know this has become a staple in many people's income streams during the pandemic, and it's something that people rely on to actually put bread on the table. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about this. Let me know if anything was still confusing. I tried to keep this brief, but also I talk a lot, and we're just going to go wrap up the video in the other normal location. All right, so I don't think anybody could say it better than Kevin has. Honestly, I don't think there's another person in the music industry that I trust more when it comes to knowledge about how musicians should be running their business, because when it comes down to it, CD Baby is the top of the game, and Kevin has been with them for so long, and he really makes sure that he has our backs. Now, something he didn't mention, and something that I think is still really relevant, it is just my personal opinion, a feeling I have. But looking back at how YouTube started and how YouTube enforced the copyright flagging and how they handle monetization of those videos, if we look at Facebook and where they're years behind what YouTube has done. Years behind. And when YouTube started, they had a whole bunch of people doing covers of songs, but one-off covers. It was rarely a whole set that included covers. It was people posting one video, one original, one cover, and then they would create these playlists out of them. However, now on Facebook, people have actually moved to live streaming an entire show, and this just wasn't the case for YouTube when people started joining YouTube to do music. So now we have people who are doing a set with 90% original music and 10% covers. And my question is, or my theory is, that when Facebook starts to make monetization easier for people who are creating video content, and when they lower the limits and they lower the thresholds before you can start having ads on your videos, allowing us to make revenue off of our videos, we're going to face a whole new problem that we never really had to face with YouTube because we never posted an entire set of songs to the platform. And that is going to be that our video, our hour-long set, is going to be flagged for copyright infringement because we have played one cover song within the set. And I highly doubt they're gonna have that figured out quickly enough to pay you for the 90% of the songs that you do own in that live stream. Again, this is just me hypothesizing what I think might happen in the future with Facebook. Now, somebody did mention earlier today to me that Facebook's monetization requirements are actually quite a bit higher than YouTube, but you just don't know when a video is going to go viral. You don't know how many people are going to share it. It could happen while you're doing your live stream. It could happen in like 3 years down the road. And what happens if you played an epic set with songs that you love, that you wrote, and then you also played like one cover song, and down the road you get millions of streams on this video, but you are not entitled to the monetization from that video because of one cover song? Again, this is just me talking and rolling things out. But as we learned from before when we read Kevin's statement and when we analyzed Facebook's official statement, we've learned they're not going to cut down on live streaming anytime soon. I think we all just got a little bit too emotional too fast, which is normal for musicians to do. We're all guilty of it. I think we can all be adults here, and we can all recognize that we tend to get very fired up about things very quickly and before we do the proper research. But if we weren't passionate, we wouldn't have half the love songs we wrote for people that we never really loved. I'm gonna leave that at this, leave this at that. I would love to know in the comments below how you feel about Facebook's new message. Were you confused? Did this help clear anything up? Have you heard of the CD Baby DIY Music podcast? If you haven't, check out the links below, and on your way down, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on, because I do release videos like this every single week. Thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to getting to know you better. Looking back at this video, my hair was doing some crazy things over here, and I'm really annoyed by that, but I'm also not annoyed enough to go back and redo everything that I just did.